After starting the season in Marrakesh in Morocco, the second race weekend of the FIA WTCR takes us to another familiar location. Hungary's capital, Budapest, boasts its own Grand Prix circuit, just 30 kilometers from the center of the city, the Hungaroring. For over 30 years, it's been host to the Hungarian Grand Prix, and for most of the last decade, it's been a happy hunting ground for world-class touring car racing. And for the fans, there is but one name that matters: Norbert Mikulits. Saturday's qualifying came after a cold, damp start to the day, and Néstor Girolami, the Argentine in the Munich Motorsport Honda, grabbed pole position in his second racing weekend in the WTCR category.
I'm really happy to do my first pole position with the Honda Civic Type R. The car felt fantastic. Just yesterday when we saw that the car was really fast in FP1.
First race of the weekend, damp conditions still hovering around the curbs and the runoff areas, although the track is predominantly dry. Few spits and spots of rain, but nothing too much to worry the drivers. It looks as though it's going to be slicks pretty much all round. Esteban Guerrieri qualified a strong third in the other Munich Motorsport Honda. The two Argentines, first and third between them though, Ivan Muller. Ironically, the man who was brought in by Volvo in Bahrain, the final race of the World Touring Car Championship 2 years ago, to replace this man, Néstor Girolami, to try and give Ted Bjerke what he eventually ended up with, the 2017 world title. Then Girolami thought his racing at the top level of touring cars was over, but now he is back and leads the charge down into the first corner of Hungaroring. Has to close the door firmly on Ivan Muller. There's a little rub with the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co car. Aurelian Panis, who was super fast in free practice, diving through on the inside in the yellow Cupra. And Panis getting in front of Esteban Guerrieri as they exit turn one. Having a hang on as Guerrieri comes back down the inside into turn two. The Argentine determined to go through. So too does Jan Erlaché, number 68 blue car, and then Ted Bjerke as well. He gets a little nudge. Knocked out wide there, Johan Kristoffersen, who qualified his Golf in the top 10 for the first time. The other three Golfs down, 15th and below. A tough weekend again underway for Volkswagen Motorsport and the four Sebastian Loeb Racing Golfs. PWR running hard into the back of Norbert Mikulits' car. That's Mikel Ascona. Jean-Carl Vernet inside the top 10. A long way around the outside for Thiago Monteiro into the chicane. No room to get through past Mehdi Banani. Up one, down two. Jan Erlaché hanging on. He's now squeezed ahead of Aurelian Panis. Panis and eventually teammate Tom Coronel in the Cupras ended up in the top half dozen in free practice. Couldn't match that in qualifying. Coronel right towards the tail of the field, outside the top 20, and 8 places from the points as Panis battles for the 4th place to try and get it back. Lots of action with the Audis now queuing up behind Panis. Jean-Carl Vernet and Frederik Vervisch, 6th and 7th behind the yellow car. Vernet's teammate Gordon Shedden down in 21st spot. Battling hard behind the Audis. Here comes Jan Erlaché as Jean-Carl Vernet finds his way through, then drifts out wide. Erlaché trying to come back at him into turn 3, contact, and the car suddenly brakes sideways. Now it's all but uncontrollable. Vernet can barely keep the car going in a straight line. Looks like he's got trouble. Steering damage for Jean-Carl Vernet. Through goes Panis, with Frederik Vervisch behind him. Oh, and trouble further back. Daniel Hegloff in the second PWR racing car gets a nudge from Augusto Farfus on the way into the chicane. Farfus really had no business trying to get through there. Jan Erlaché in and out of the race, but they will have time to fix the car for tomorrow. Nesta Girolami, the leader, into the second half of the race with Van Muller, Esteban Guerrieri, then the turquoise nose of Jean-Carl Vernet. Long lead queue of cars and significant battles all the way back compared to Marrakesh, where any tiny error put you in the wall and out of the race. Here there is a little more latitude for racing. You can put a wheel or two off track and still survive, as Benny Leuchner proves with the 88 car of Nicky Katzberg. Katzberg not on the pace this weekend. The queue getting longer. Behind Aurelien Panis now is Frederik Vervisch and his teammate Langefeld under pressure from Thiago Montero further back. Behind him, Kevin Chacon in the Alfa Romeo. This is the battle for 21st place. Further forward, Andy Prieur, Michele Ascona, with Gabriele Tarquini squeezing in. Number 1 on his car for the reigning champion. 1-1-1 for Andy Prieur. 1 for each of the World Touring Car Championships he won. And the PWR car comes through on the inside of Tarquini. Ascona squeezes by. Rob Huff is right there as well, but Tarquini holds a tight line, gets back inside the Cupra. Huff now moves by, followed by Thiago Montero. Checker flag awaits Nesta Girolami. He is going to win again at the world level at the scene of his first ever world-class touring car win. At the Hungaroring, he is back and on top of the pile, and ironically beating the man for Cyan Racing who replaced him for Cyan Racing. A good result for Aurelien Panis as well. Not the podium he'd hoped for, but a 5th position. But a huge day for Nesta Girolami. Not just back, but back in winner's circle at world level in touring cars, with his teammate Esteban Guerrieri right behind him in 3rd position, and Guerrieri with the championship lead, taking it away from Ted Björk, who is down towards the bottom of the top 10. Confirmation of the result then, Björk in 7th place, Guerrieri in 3rd, just enough to overhaul the Swede for the lead of the championship, and Girolami moving up fast on the rails. A huge moment for Girolami, like his teammate, the Argentine, living during the season in Barcelona, and now feeling no pain. It's good to be back. As Van Muller joked when he was coaching, he said, maybe I taught you a little too much 2 years ago. Day 2 with the 3-part qualifying. Norbert Mikulits, as he had the previous season, grabbing pole for race 3, the fastest man in the top 5.
Okay, Norby 52.78.
Norby started race 1 and 3 on pole last year.
Probably we will not be the fastest during also the races, but you know, I have a bit of extra knowledge compared to them. Hopefully I can convert my position in leading after the 2nd or 3rd corner, and then it's quite tricky to overtake. We have to wait and see.
No question, the fans were thrilled to see their hero on pole position for the final race of the weekend. But first, he'd have to survive race 2. Race 2 with the top 10 from the final qualifying sessions inverted, and with rain returning. A damp patch track and a few spits and spots. If you're at the front end, it's slicks. You have to be bold. If you're outside the points way at the back, maybe it's worth a gamble. And 2 or 3 cars had slicks on the front and wets on the back. Pole position for Jean-Carl Vernet and the WRT Audi. Alongside him, Daniel Hegloff for PWR Racing. Augusto Farfus, 3rd on the grid in his Look-All Hyundai. Little slippery at the start, and Hagloff not making the best of getaways from the driver's right-hand side. nor too did Jean-Carl Vernet. A new clutch fitted overnight. He hadn't quite got the biting point right. Hagloff held on the inside for the lead as Ted Björk moved through. Cars flying off wide in what was the start of what was to become a viciously exciting race. 4 wide in front, 4 wide behind, 4 wide in the middle. It was a rare car that came back without at least several others paint on. In the slippery conditions, there were cars flying everywhere. Hegloff battling with Girolami for the lead of the race. The Honda versus the Cupra, both quick in free practice, both finding traction hard to define. Around the outside in the second PWR car, Ascona being collected by Vernet, also collecting Björk, also getting collected by Farfus, who went the long way round and had to jump the chicane, mind you. So did about a third of the field. Björk in trouble. And real trouble for Mehdi Benani. Hit from behind, broken rear suspension. Farfus off, back into Ascona. Vernet's gone back through for third. And it's still Hegloff versus Girolami for the lead of the race. Ascona in the second PWR car in there, swinging with them. Light drizzle, the surface is absolutely greasy as anything. Hagloff drifts out wide in corner 11, keeps his foot in, so do a dozen others, but Girolami somehow hangs on, keeps his nose turned into turn 12 in front. Big slide behind. Contact for Jan Erlaché, knocks him wide. Erlaché needing some points after retiring from race 1, but the blue car holding off a long queue. Girolami leads across the line, and Hegloff in second position under pressure from Jean-Carl Vernet, who's pulled alongside on the inside. Michele Ascona in fourth position. The 2 PWR Racing Cupras absolutely flying. And behind the Cupra, all arms and elbows. Once more in lap 2, lots of contact. This time Augusto Farfus back up to 5th ahead of Jan Erlaché and Esteban Guerrieri. Guerrieri fighting his way through. Contact with Gabriele Tarquini. He's got Katzberg behind. And if you make a mistake here, you'll be swamped by half a dozen cars. Take a look at this on board from Ted Björk, getting hit in both doors. Ivan Muller, wiper flapping, chasing down Frederick Vervisch in his Audi, who in his turn is trying to jump ahead of Gabriele Tarquini. Vervisch slips out wide, Muller's on the inside. Similarly, Jan Erlaché trying to get by Augusto Farfus a little further up the road. This is the battle for 5th. Farfus is the stopper in the bottle. Erlaché trailing quite a lot of his car, which has been knocked off in early contact. Grip levels are at a real premium. Everybody teetering around on the ragged edge. And Huff's going to try and use that opportunity to get by Ivan Muller. Muller in 10th, Huff in 11th, as the battle continues.
Keep calm, Gabriel, keep calm. He's trying to overtake him.
Frantic racing action, race 2 in the Hungaroring. 12 laps of greasy track and everybody with a plan. Gabriele Tarquini chasing Niki Katzberg just ahead of him. This is the battle for 8th position. Esteban Guerrieri there as well. Can the 2 Hyundais hold him out? Not quite. Just a little further up, Augusto Farfus in 5th, the blue car Jan Erlaché. Guerrieri runs out very wide, comes back in between Katzberg and Tarquini. There is the reigning champion. Behind him is Ivan Muller. If Guerrieri gets eased out wide, they'll both go through. He does get eased out wide. They do both go through. Trouble behind in the shape of Rob Huff as well. Guerrieri now down from 8th to 10th. And Farfus under pressure. Erlaché swapping left to right, trying to go by. Ivan Muller behind Gabriele Tarquini. He'll let the Italian bludgeon his way through and follow if he can. In the fast-moving queue of traffic behind, it's anybody's game for positions. And suddenly, Tarquini down the inside into turn one. Big contact with Yann Erlaché, forces the young Frenchman out of the race.
The accident I had yesterday with Aurélien, I can understand. But with a guy like Gabriele, I'm struggling to understand. We are trying to make good races and stuff. You're just trying to save your place. And I was not even defending, like I was just driving on the line, it just smashed into me. And I got like maybe hit 100 times in this race. I'm starting to be fed up a little bit.
Well, for that, Tarquini is handed a 5th-place grid job for the first race in Slovakia next time out. But meanwhile, it's Ivan Muller who's got by Augusto Farfus, with Esteban Guerrieri coming up behind. Tarquini lost out in that incident with Erlaché as Muller went through. Now Muller is the one making the moves. Guerrieri following him through, and as Ivan skates out wide, Esteban in the Honda just eases his way through up into 5th position. Guerrieri, like Mikulits, his focus will be on the final race of the weekend because he's starting right at the sharp end. Rob Huff trying to make what he can in the slippery conditions. Family watching from the Sebastian Loeb Racing Garage. Farfus makes contact. Attila Tashi, the young Hungarian, the youngest man in the field, tries to get through as well. 2012 World Champions Golf, not quite on terms with the Honda for pace or grip, but Huff has the moves. Little contact into the chicane, big slide, holds his place. Tashi still there. Gabriele Tarquini now heading slowly back to the pits with a right front puncture. Ironically, it was the left-hand side of his car that had done most of the nerfing on other drivers. Closing stages, Nestor Girolami reeled in by Jean-Carl Vernet. But Vernet worrying about his car making it to the end on the radio to the team, saying he's got a huge vibration. And in the end, easing off the throttle on the final lap. Nestor Girolami heading to the checkered flag. 2nd win in as many races in Hungary. Jean-Carl Vernet taking 2nd position. But Girolami moves up with Vernet in 2nd and Daniel Hegloff taking his first ever world-class podium. But Girolami is now the joint points leader.
It was a crazy race. I knew that something crazy can happen in this type of condition of the weather, but I decided to keep it slick. I like this type of styling to drive in damp conditions, you know, so I really enjoyed the race. We were fighting quite a lot to get this opportunity in WTCR. I was waiting to a revanche, to be honest, because in 2017 I didn't have the proper opportunity to show my personality and my driving conditions. So now I think we are in a good position to fight for the championship, and it just felt amazing.
Amazing for Girolami, Vernet 2nd, Hegloff and Ascona 3rd and 4th. Ascona on the podium in race 3 in Marrakesh. Now it's Hegloff's turn to take a podium for the newcomers in the Cupra. Guerrieri in 5th position, tying with Girolami. The joint championship leaders are from Argentina and from Munich Motorsport, with one more race to go in the weekend. The final race of the weekend, the DHL pole sitter on a still greasy track, is Norbert Mikulits. The crowd desperate for their hero to win this one, but Esteban Guerrieri is alongside him. The Honda, a very quick car. Yann Erlaché and his damaged Lincoln Co-Sign racing machine starts in 3rd. And as the lights change, a little bit of a hesitant start from Norbert Mikulits, but a strong run from Esteban Guerrieri on the inside. He's covered off the Hungarian, and around the outside goes Erlaché. They're 3 wide behind Gabriele Tarquini and Nestor Girolami. And then Ascona on the inside. He goes through underneath Girolami. Ascona with the orange stripes picking up positions. It's Guerrieri who leads. On the outside is the number 1 car of Tarquini. He drives all the way around. Norbert Michelic for second. Ehrliche in 4th position. And once more, contact begins from lap 1 on. It's not quite as slippery as race 2. Guerrieri leads, Michelic in 2nd, Tarquini in 3rd, and flying off there is Andy Priaulx, one of a number of cars with contact in the opening lap. Rob Huff trying to hang on to his position as Gordon Shedden tries to make ground in his Audi, on board with Jean-Carl Vernet. Vernet.
Sorry, I did push Andy, but it was very not on purpose.
Ivan Muller putting his hand up to contact with his teammate that put him off. Rob Huff with Daniel Hegloff behind. Into the pit lane comes Muller to serve a penalty. Gabriele Tarquini and Norbert Michelic have swapped positions as further back Kevin Chacon and Gordon Shedden get together. Daniel Hegloff has dropped, Esteban Guerrieri rather, has dropped down the order from 1st to 3rd position, while the cameras are busy watching the ferocious action behind. Confirmation, Tarquini ahead of Michelic, and behind them Guerrieri.
I got some electronic issue, some yellow lights in the dash, which is just cut the engine for 1 or 2 seconds. So from 1st I came back to 3rd, but after 2 seconds it got alive again. So I don't know what happened. We have to check that.
Luckily he didn't have to do Control-Alt-Deletes. The problem fixed itself, but it's a worry that it appeared in the first place. Jan Ehrliche in 4th ahead of Michael Ascona, the PWR Racing Cupra. And behind him, number 11, Ted Björk, looking for a good points haul. Then Nestor Girolami with Rob Huff behind. Daniel Hegloff in 9th position. And rounding out the top 10, Augusto Farfus with teammate Nicky Katzberg and Jean-Carl Vernet behind. And then suddenly the safety car is out as Esteban Guerrieri's day goes worse, and he ends up in the barriers, the final corner.
But then we broke the front left suspension. It just cut, so I had no steering, and I had to, well, I just crashed. So I had to obviously DNF.
Tough break for Guerrieri, championship leader after race 1, joint championship leader after race 2. And after a brief safety car period, 2 more laps added to the nominal 15-lap distance. And they go green once more. Tarquini running away from Michelic. Jan Ehrliche in 3rd position, looking for a podium here. Michael Ascona, 4th place. He was 3rd in the final race in Marrakesh. He could move up. Then Ted Björk and Nestor Girolami. And suddenly the race is over. Kevin Chacon's car in the barriers. And the safety car scrambled once more. No time to recover his car. And just in front, you can see the car spears off the track. Suspension breakage, legacy undoubtedly of contact either in race 1 or race 2 or race 3. Checker flag comes out as they get to the line behind the safety car. Gabriele Tarquini takes his 2nd win of the season, with Norbert Michelic, his teammate, in 2nd, and Jan Ehrliche on the podium with the man with whom he is no longer friends. Tarquini will care little about that. It's the points that are the point for him. Norbert Michelic in 2nd position. And the unfortunate Esteban Guerrieri out of the race. Jan Ehrliche finishing 3rd ahead of Ascona, Björk and Girolami.
He lost power, something happened to Esteban, so for me it was just to control the pace. My car was fantastic. I mean, to be honest, with this small water, the tires was okay. The car balance was exactly what I want. I can really push as much as I want, and the car was fantastic. So thanks to the team.
Tarquini, the reigning champion, takes his second win of the season. He may have a penalty for the first race in Slovakia, but he is once more adding to his points tally. So Nesta Girolami, the leader from Esteban Guerrieri, Ted Björk in third, Tarquini vaults back up to fourth position, but All Inkle are the championship leaders by nearly 60 points, and PWR, the new boys, in fourth position. For Sebastian Loeb Racing and Volkswagen, it has not been a good couple of weekends, but for Nesta Girolami, this is one weekend that he will never forget.